What is up, guys and gals? It's me, Thomas Fan01 here, and today we're going to be doing something I've kind of been wanting to do again because since the nice reception to the last video we did, which was the top 10 figures of 2023, and since Legacy is now coming to a close with Legacy United, I decided, why don't we just take a look at all of the first wave of, well, maybe not look at all of it, but I figured, why don't we take a look at just Legacy, and that goes for its subline too, which would be Velocitron Speedia 500. So I'm actually looking forward to this because I have a good chunk of this stuff in my collection, and I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you all. And take note, this is only my opinion. And it's like, you do not have to take my opinion to heart. You do not have to take any of this to heart, because for all I know, my runner-ups could be your number one. And for all you know, my number one could be your absolute garbage. So I don't know. But I'm pretty sure my number one is in everybody else's number one category, if we're just ranking Legacy. And it's one subline, which would be the Velocitron Speedia 500. So, without further ado, let's get into the runner-ups here. Now, we're only going off of the runner-ups based by two different reasons, and the two reasons are why they're on the runner-up list. That's the first one, why they're on the runner-up list, and why they did not, and not why, but and how they ended up there. So, yeah. So, anywho, without further ado, let's get this ball rolling. I apologize for taking a pause there. Before we do continue, please don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button down below. And also, please do not forget to check out our sponsor today, Planet Toys, a world built by collectors, where you can get most of your Transformers needs taken care of there. So, without further ado, let's go. Number 1. Now, as new figures go, and you can still go out there and get this figure, by the way. You can still go out to any old Walmart to go get this figure. But on the final spot here for the runner-up list, we have Legacy Voyager class G-Haxus. Now, the reason why he's on this list is actually there's a laundry list of reasons why he's on this list. However, I want to give him one positive note, which is, I'm very glad we're getting comic book characters. Like, I'm very glad they decided to give this guy his original Generation 2 look from the comic book. That's a good positive. Now we're going to go on to the negatives. The first one being is that this guy was so prone to yellowing. This thing was almost yellow by the time one piece of it started. You turn your back for 5 seconds and the whole thing turned yellow. Now, fortunately, the only spots of yellowing where I'm having a little bit of issue is just this one crotch plate, and it's not a huge issue, it's a small, minute issue. So, I don't know if that's just the quality of my plastic, I don't know if it's the quality of everybody else's plastic that's having issues, I don't know what that problem was. But, there's the reason, there's that. And how did he end up on the first runner-up list? Well, his availability. He has too much availability. They overproduced this thing to a point where hardly anybody was gonna get it, because, I mean, it was a character hardly anybody knew. So, anywho, he is a good figure, just not on the top 5. Number 4. Now, the next 4 spots are going to be complete repaints, and here we have the Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Leader Class Scourge, or, yeah, Scourge. And the reason why he's on this list is because okay, firstly, beautiful repaint, can't complain one bit whatsoever. So, that's a positive. It's a gorgeous repaint, looks like it came right from the TV show, very faithful to the cartoon. However, I'm really tired of these Optimus Prime and Laser Prime repaints, because wherever there's one Optimus Prime, there's going to be a Nemesis Prime, there's going to be a Nemesis there's going to be a Japanese version of him, there's so many versions of Optimus Prime, it's getting old to me, at least to me. So just know that. So that's why he's at number 4. So, and also because you know, in order to make some of him look more complete, you had to get the number 1 spot for the runner-up category. So, number 3. Now, once again, like I said, as repaints go, the next ones I actually quite like about the repaint category, but at the same time, this one I liked a lot. If you remember in my review, I think I called this thing Mini Masterpiece. But at the same time, it's definitely not Mini Masterpiece. The longer I look at this and the longer I feel it, the longer I do anything with this, I know it's not Mini Masterpiece. However, I do like the fact that they were going into the Diaclone molds. I like the fact that they were dipping back into their old roots. I'm glad they were doing all of that. And it just makes me smile when I see this figure on the Ross shelves, because I know it's going to be gone shortly because of how well this thing, like, the transformation is nice, but once again, it's the availability of it when it came out. There were so many of these guys clogging up the Walmart shelves. It was just a nuisance to even try to hunt for the number 1 spot for the actual top 5. So it was really difficult to hunt. It was difficult to do anything really, unless you had somebody pre-order them for you, or whether or not you had them on back order or whatever the heck. Some of them did not make it to shelves. So, but this guy is definitely one that it's a nice repaint, but it's definitely in the runner-up categories. Number 2. Now, this repaint is definitely one that I have a little bit of a hard time with. I have a hard time with this one because everybody was up in arms about this guy. Everybody was like, oh, dude, did you see this? And then they came up with the price tag. And if you guys may know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Red Cog here. Now, Legacy Red Cog, granted, not a bad figure. Not a bad figure in the slightest. Got a bajillion repaints that coming at some point, I'm pretty positive, but at the same time, not a bad figure. What I have a problem with this figure is the price tag for what you get. Basically, you get this, and you get 10 accessory guns. And it was basically a munitions builder pack. That's what I did not like about this, is that they didn't even bother to take this dude and give him a Generation Selects, because that would have probably been a better plan. I would have rather this guy had been Gen Selects, because if he was in Gen Selects, he would not be on this list. So, but that's basically the biggest reason as to why I do not like this guy is not in the top 5. There's just a reason he's not in the top 5. So, and not to mention, I mean, he's a weaponizer, and this leg is like the most like flimsy. Like I'm like applying very minimal pressure here, and the leg just comes right off. That's I don't not like that. So, but as for the figure itself, it's not bad, but just I would not spend the $30 on this guy. I did not purchase this guy for $30. I purchased him for $9.99 at Ross. So, if you can get him at Ross, then hey, go for it. Number 1. Now, once again, as repaints go, I did not get the original version of this because I did not need Menasor, and I think this guy was just probably one of the most beautiful repaints that we've gotten from the Legacy line, and that would be Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Deluxe Class Shadow Strip. Now, Shadow Strip is, or G2 Shadow Strip to be specific, but I do like this figure because it just goes to show you how simple a paint job can really make a figure pop. Like, seriously, there are only a grand total of like 4 colors on this thing total, and that doesn't include the that does not include the guns, and that does not include the plastic shade. So the thing that I personally like about this guy is the fact that he kind of reminds me of Ricochet from I think it was the eHobby exclusive Generation 1 figure. This guy reminds me so much of Ricochet. That's for the positives. The only downside that I have to this guy, once again, is the fact that he is a repaint. And I don't like repaints. I like original molds, I like original paint, I like original all of that. But it's not a bad figure. Like, I don't have any problems with the Menasor gimmick coming apart. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and honestly, I would recommend this figure. However, like I said, he is a repaint. That's why he's not on this list. So, anyways. And now that we've gotten through all of our runner-ups, we can get on to the final ranking of the top 5. So, without further ado, let's get this started. Number 5. Now, I said this previously in my last video, where I had said something about Bombshell, and I had said something about Shrapnel, but take note, I have something special planned for Shrapnel. So that's why I did not give him as much of a spotlight. That's why I didn't give him as much of a, a grand timeout. That's why I didn't do too much of that. But you gotta show some love for Kickback. I mean, this was the very first Insecticon that they decided to do for this line, for the whole Legacy line period. And I definitely have to give them credit where credit is due. It is a very, very nice figure. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny it in the slightest. It's a very nice figure. I love it. It's nice. It's a wonderful representation of the G1 Kickback that we all so desperately wanted in deluxe class form for so many years. In fact, it's even so faithful to the original toy that it has the little hinge mechanism here that this piece would have opened up so you could put your Diaclone pilot in there, or your whatever the heck it was. I couldn't remember. I don't remember what line the Insecticons came from, but I'm like this was supposed to pop open and you could put something inside it in the original toy. So, and then if I'm not mistaken, they fused that one as well later on. So, but anyways, very faithful, very wonderful, and just a grand figure to get. Only thing I really wish that they would have done was maybe given him some silver hands, or maybe just a little bit of a silver wash here and there, but that's about it. And I do foresee the entire Insecticon set being released in the Studio Series 86 line, and I foresee them repainting the hell out of them. So, anywho, that's number 5 slot. Number 4. Now, we can't have an actual review here without having one prime. And the one prime that I've got currently with me right at the moment that was Legacy is Laser Prime. Yes, Laser Prime. Now, why is Laser Prime on this top 10 list and not Toxitron, Scourge, or actually, I don't know. There's only one other repaint, but I can't remember its name. But anyways, and the fact that we're getting him again in Legacy United, it drives me up the wall a little bit, because they're just like, we don't have enough of these, we got to get rid of them. And then all of a sudden they're going to be everywhere. And then we're going to have an influx of this guy, and that's about it. So, but once again, I definitely dig it, because this figure was a figure that I never once got, and I always wanted one. And then all of a sudden, Legacy was like, all right, we're doing Laser Prime. I'm like, yes! So, yeah. And the reason why he's on the top 5 list is because, well, number 1, he's a Prime. Number 2, he comes with so many amazing hidden details, like the little rocket pods coming off. You can seriously still use the Earthrise pieces here for the truck mode. Like, there are Earthrise pieces still on this guy, but the point is that there's no reason as to why this guy should not be in anybody's Generation 2 collection. So, honestly, it's a beautiful figure, and if you didn't get your hands on him the first time around with the original Legacy, then you can get him in Legacy United. So, and in this exact color scheme, he does not come with this gun, though. I just gave him Astro Chain's minigun because I felt like it. So, anyways, that is number 4. Number 3. And once again, if you'll take a look at the if you look at our backdrop for today, you'll notice that Legacy wasn't prone to not releasing certain figures. So, Like, for example, we never got a Titan class Cybertron Metroplex. So, you know, it was very nice of them to actually give us, in the Velocitron Speedia 500 collection, Voyager class Override. Now, what is there to say about this thing other than it's just beautiful? And not to mention, it's one of the very few molds, or few original molds that came out of the Velocitron Speedia 500 collection, and if you did not get yourself an Override, then you probably won't be able to find it again for a decent price. So, why is this one on this list? Well, it's beautiful. It's an original mold. It's got pretty much everything that you could need for an Override character. I feel like she's just about ready to, you know, kick Hotshot's ass in a race, man. Like, I'm just serious. Like, every time I look at this figure, it blows me away. And not to mention, it's somewhat faithful to the original toy, in the fact that they're with the color schemes and everything else. Well, correction. There was one. The first original wasn't very good, and then they did a repainted version of this one. So, but at the same time, I love this, and I also like the fact that they did not give her visor, because that just made it look weird. But I do like this figure because it removes the visor, gives the eyes, all of that stuff. And also, the transformation is just so satisfying once you get into it. The transformation is so stinking satisfying. So, I mean, that is one of the many things that I'm going to thank Hasbro for, is taking a look back into the Cybertron universe and giving us updated versions of these characters that were definitely needed. So, anyways, that is number 3. Number 2. Now, this guy, oh my word, like when they announced that this guy was coming out, because we had just finished up with Kingdom and Beast Wars and everything of that nature, and we're still getting Beast Wars figures in Legacy United. Like, definitely be on the lookout for that Silver Bolt at some point. But Transmetal 2 was a wonderful time for everybody, so I figured the number 2 spot should go to a Transmetal 2. And in that case, that being the only Transmetal 2 figure to my knowledge that we've got, aside from Tigerhawk that's coming out with the Legacy United line, I figured that Legacy Transmetal 2 Megatron, Leader Class Transmetal 2 Megatron to be specific, would be the right call for the number 2 spot, because the level of detail on this guy is just so immaculate, and not to mention the wings here. The dragon wings, that's what blew me away, was the dragon wings and the wingspan and all of it. It just blew me away. So, and it's one of those figures that you just, when you see it, you gotta pick it up. So, I mean, like, and when you look at this thing, you just want to you can just feel David Kay's voice coming out of his mouth. You just can feel it and hear it. And you can hear the wonderful yes coming right out of his mouth. You can hear it. So that is the massive positives about this figure. Is it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous figure. It's a badass figure. It's a very fun to mess with figure. The articulation is amazing on it. Like, really, just absolutely amazing. One thing that I do want to say is a problem, at least on my copy. I don't know if everybody else has a problem with theirs as well, in this category, but this tends to, like, detach too much. Like, I can't get it to stay in this slot right here. I don't know if that's my copy or if anybody else has had that problem either. I don't know. But anyways, that is number 2 for Legacy's top 5. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Number 1. Now, the Velocitron Speedia 500 collection gave us some wonderful figures. It gave us some amazing figures. It gave us some figures that we laughed about, we cried about, we threw in the blender. We basically loved it like our childhood and hated it like our childhood. But if there is one figure that it was definitely the golden goose out of the entire Legacy lineup, was one that we all were not expecting in the slightest. However, it was definitely a wonderful, wonderful surprise when we did. And that one is Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Deluxe Class Cosmos. Now, this guy was basically like Wonka's magical golden ticket. You know, this guy was, if you found him, like when the Velocitron Speedia 500 collection was starting to come out, you were basically king of the frickin' fan club. At least until more people found him. But then, as soon as, so soon as this guy was released, he was gone. Like, just gone. Like, there was, like, no trace of him in the slightest left. Like, I don't even know why he was so hard to obtain and why Hasbro didn't make him into one of the more mass-produced ones. So they had to just basically give us him. Those are the only negatives. But here's the rest of it. It's all positive. Because the paint on this guy is beautiful, the articulation isn't bad, he has a waist swivel, he's got a head ball joint. Like, the only thing I would ever, like, really consider being a problem with this dude was, once again, his availability. And that's about it. Like, but for a small deluxe class figure that's just barely bigger than the Netflix Bumblebee, which, by the way, was also one more golden ticket that you could not get. But like, if you have this in your collection, you basically should just hold on to it at this point. I do not foresee them redoing this character at all. Like, in the slightest. Like, this guy, I foresee this guy to be the 1 in a million that exists. So, I personally think it's stupid that they made this guy the least amount mass released. But I definitely do like the fact that they did make him a rarity and they did make him available, because I did not have a Cosmos until this guy came out. So, anyways, let's get the family photo going here. We got Cosmos, we got Megatron here. We got, let's get Override in the picture. And then we got Kickback right here going on. And then Laser Prime. There we go. So, anyways, these are the top 5 figures of the entire Transformers Legacy specifically only Legacy. Like, I can't stress that enough. It's only the Legacy line, not Legacy Evolutions, not Legacy United, just Legacy. So, anyways, this is your host, Thomas Fan 01 here, saying do not forget to subscribe to Optination Reviews, Beastman Reviews, Patrick with the Y, Riveted Reviews, Jordy's Rail Videos, Bravely GG, and iStar552. Also, Take Along Productions, as I know they all do some amazing work, and I know they all have been working really hard, and I know they're looking forward to getting some content out for all of you this year. So, this is Thomas Fan 01 saying, once again, do not forget to check out our sponsor today, Planet Toys, a world built by collectors, where you can get some Transformers for most of your Transformers needs, and we will be using a code which is New Year 24, and you can use that code for up to like another 3 days, because after 3 days, after the rest of this week, can't get anything 20% off. So, anywho, this is Thomas Fan 01 saying, don't forget to subscribe, and have a good day, and do not forget to keep playing with your toys. Goodbye.